All right. So we have good evening, everyone. My name is Davon Rees, CEO and founder of Vestor and president and founder of the Vaughn Group. We have a 3-day challenge, how to buy a hotel and apartment 3-day challenge. And we have our special guest, Andre Williams. I'm gonna pass the mic over to him. Do you have a presentation? Okay. Oh, you on mute.
Yes, I do have a presentation. Can you hear me?
Yes, you should be able to share your screen now.
Okay, I'm pulling it up right now. 1 second. How's everybody doing this evening? I hope everyone's well. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you all today. And we're just gonna really have a conversation. I'm pulling up my slides presentation now. Share my screen. Screen share. Okay, can everybody see it? It's okay. So we are really just gonna have a conversation tonight. A little bit about me real quick. My name is Andre Williams. I'm the founder of Pivotal Wealth Management. I'm been a financial advisor for over 22 years, offering wealth planning solutions and ideas for clients. What I can promise you tonight is this is purely education. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm not trying to pitch a product to you. I just want to share some ideas with you, perhaps tell a couple stories along the way of clients and their situations. And I may broadly talk about things like you may hear me mention the name of a stock or something like that, but it's by no means a recommendation for you to go out and buy a particular stock or anything. So just wanted to make that clear. This is purely educational, so you can put your guard down. I'm not trying to sell you anything. When we talk about wealth, one thing is we talk about the building or the accumulation phase. How much do we need to save? How much risk are we trying to take? What types of assets are we trying to put our money into? What's the asset allocation model, et cetera? And we think about the buildup of assets for a certain purpose. Typically, we talk about retirement, things like what you guys are talking about, which is building a portfolio to go out and buy some hotels and further diversify your portfolio holdings, which is a smart idea. But when we talk about the buildup, we also have to think about what do we do once we've actually acquired wealth? How do we make sure we keep it? How do we make sure we sustain it for our lifetimes and have assets to pass on to that next generation? It's kind of like playing golf. The first nine, you could be ahead, you could be doing great, but then that back nine, you still got to manage that to win the game. And so we want to talk about the wealth planning. But we're also going to talk about what can we do to ensure the lifestyle continues. And one thing like hotels, if you all are talking about what they've done, it's a great opportunity for you to create additional cash flow. But as some of you know who own properties, you also get some tax advantages to that as well because of the depreciation expense you're able to take against that brick and mortar real estate. Little disclaimer, this does not constitute, my presentation with you today does not constitute an offer to buy or sell any securities. Cabot Lodge Securities is my broker-dealer, and my advisory services are offered through CO Wealth Management. But my company is Pivotal Wealth Management, so this is just an exposure that I have to show you. First thing when it comes to wealth, I think about is what drives you to create the goals that you have. For me, it's my daughter. This is my baby girl, Ariel, and when I think about she's given parents, you get new purpose in life when you have a little one. And so for me, I was already on the path to wealth building, but now that purpose, when we talk about transferring, what it looks like going forward as far as college, making sure she knows how to manage the money that daddy's building, that drives a lot of what I do now as far as how I go about my wealth building personally and through my company. So I want you all to think about what drives you. Is it leaving that 9-to-5 job? You're tired of working for the man. You want to get out, branch out on your own, be an entrepreneur, be a real estate hotel owner. Having that financial freedom is oftentimes one of the things that we all like to know we can do. And then just having that, just to know that if I want to say, I love my job, if I wanted to leave tomorrow or say I'm fed up with this, I can do so. And of course, it's probably your family. So, you want to make sure that your family's okay, and maybe you're not a burden financially on anyone as you get older. So all these different things can come into play as far as how you set your goals and what drives you to do the things that you do. Sometimes the financial planning, the wealth building can kind of feel like you're in the cockpit of an airplane. A lot of different things that you have to consider any given point in time. What's my income? Is it steady? What's the market doing right now? What are interest rates? Do I have, what kind of debt do I have? How am I going to pay it off? How can I get back to a place where I got financial stability on a month-to-month basis? I got to help somebody out in my family, that they need my support. You got all these different situations, and it can feel like an overwhelming task to determine. You got to go. How are you going to get there? How are you going to make that happen? What's step number 1, 2, 3, and 4 in that process? It seems daunting, but it's really not once you commit. Again, let your goals drive your commitment to actually do something and create that discipline. Now, I don't know this group. I know a lot of you probably already have done some things, got the discipline, you've been saving, investing. Some of you might have multi-million-dollar portfolios. You still have to maintain the discipline for how you allocate your dollars, how you deploy your money, the investments you select, etc. It doesn't matter where you're at, what stage you're at, you're always going to have to be managing the process and redirecting as things shift and change with your financial life. So, here's a bit of math. This is kind of where I start with a lot of clients when we talk about, wealth building. How much of your income are you really trying to replace, right? So when we talk about hotels and we talk about real estate, you get that passive income. That's a portion of your income, in which you ideally want to have probably between 5 and 10 income streams when you get to the age of retirement. Not even just retirement, just through your life. How nice would it be to have some paychecks hit your bank account on a monthly basis that you didn't have to physically go out and work for, but your portfolio did the work for you? So in this example, got a person who earns $300,000 a year. Of course, if they had 100% income replacement as a target, and they're looking to replace 300,000 of their income. How would they go about doing that? I've had a lot of people over the years say, "Hey, when I retire, I want to earn what I got today," but then they only put away 5% of their income into their investment account. They have other debts. The practicality of it is really not there. Some people don't know it, but there are things that you have to do in order to make things like this happen. If you wanted to get 70% of your income, that's about $210,000 a year. So what's that income target, and what type of discipline are you willing? What are you willing to do to make this happen? Because I oftentimes see high income earners, people making $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year. Some even making $1 million. They're still not in a place to be able to do 70% income replacement. So why is that? It's partially because we take for granted our incomes, and we're not looking at what we really ought to be doing as far as this is what we bring home. X percentage needs to go towards our savings and investments, and we really don't know where we are financially. Are we on track to hit our goal that we've stated for ourselves? Just to randomly say I want to retire at age 55 or 65 with no plan and no real understanding of whether or not it's doable, that's dangerous, y'all. I want to make sure that, on the call today, you guys really start to look at those things, no matter where you are. Again, if you're further down the road and you feel confident, stress test it. Make sure that you can actually make those things happen. But what's the targeted income, and how much of that might come from real estate? And what are the tax considerations around that? When we talk about wealth, we got to think about the deteriorators of that wealth. How do we protect our dollars, our portfolios, our real estate property? It could be artwork, the assets that we have that make up our portfolio. How do we protect those? So when we think about what the deteriorators are, it's really taxes are a big component of that. The biggest expense that we'll have in our lifetime is taxes. We pay income taxes at the federal and state levels. If your assets are large enough, you have estate taxes. You buy a car, buy a house, you got sales taxes. Taxes just out the wazoo constantly. So how can you shelter assets from taxation? Some of you know one of the key things that you oftentimes hear about is 401ks and IRAs. The real estate space, as I mentioned earlier, is a really good tax play as well because of that depreciation expense opportunity. Market volatility, a lot of people are afraid of the markets. Some people are still stuck on 2008 when we had a recession and have not fully gotten back into the market. But had they done so, they would have missed over 500% return from the markets. So volatility and taking on some risk from the market is a good thing to grow assets, but you don't necessarily have to just go all in. There are things you can do to make yourself feel comfortable where the volatility is concerned. But that can certainly be a deteriorator of your wealth. Interest rates, that's been one of the big things here lately. Is the Federal Reserve going to cut rates? They're going to start doing cuts here in the near term. I don't think they will. But interest rates, as you guys know, cost of capital goes up, whether it be for you trying to purchase properties, new real estate holdings, cost of capital for corporations, so the stocks that you own, they have poor balance sheets and the financials aren't very strong. They can be impacted because now interest costs are going to be going up. So interest rates can be a very big deteriorator to your wealth building as well. And here's one: longevity of life. Numbers 1, 2, and 3 basically get compounded if you live a long life and you don't have enough assets to maintain, or your planning and your strategies don't address market volatility and taxes, and it's inefficient, and you can actually risk running out of money. So that's another risk to your wealth. Poor health and long-term care. We probably all know somebody in our family who has had to have that extra help, maybe a nurse at the home. How much is that costing? And where's the money coming from? A lot of folks don't have the assets to cover long-term care. You look at just the state of Georgia, cost of staying in a nursing home, I think it's over $75,000 per year. Where's the money coming from for something like that? You still got bills at home, and you still got to take care of, household needs. But then if you have to have long-term care and some other needs, how are your assets be able to sustain you over that period of time? Have you addressed that? Creditors and lawsuits, guys, we are this is America, a very litigious society that, if anybody thinks that you have assets, oh, she owns that hotel, oh, she owns those multifamily properties, oh yeah, we're going to sue her. She's got assets. So how can you protect yourself? What's the asset protection strategy? Probate. If you guys haven't done your wills, set up your trust. You got kids, and you're thinking, "Oh, my kids, they'll be fine. They'll get along just fine." No, I'm telling you, 22 years in, sisters and brothers, husband and wife. Listen, there have been all kinds of arguments. Stepchildren coming in. I know Daddy left us some money, and he didn't leave it all just to you. Make sure you got everything in place so that your estate, the wealth that you do build, is not going to be sucked up by court fees and probate costs, etc. Have your documents in place. Of course, family and friends. I can't tell you the number of people who have been guilted into helping out family. Once they make it big, they make a lot of money. Oh, well, I raised you. I'm the one that wiped your butt at night and stayed up with you when you were sick and all that. And you just giving out money, but you need to have a cap on what you're going to be giving to people on an annual basis, because you got to take care of you and your immediate family first, or you can help anyone else. So keep these wealth deteriorators in mind in your whole planning process. How do you avoid these various risks and maintain the wealth and standard of living that you have? If you got a good life today and that life is dependent upon you going to work to earn that paycheck, you got to get in the mindset of eventually getting to a place where you don't have to go to work. Your assets, your wealth can help you maintain that lifestyle. How do you get to that place? It all takes planning. Now, I know this is a lot of writing. Follow my voice. You can read some of this if you want to. I'm going to revamp this, but just follow my voice as I talk through some of these things. So when we think about how do we implement an optimal plan, which is going to be different for everybody based on your age, your health, your income, your needs, your family dynamic. Everybody's got something different that they're trying to accomplish. But typically what you'll see when it comes to strategies, this wheel that we see here, you're going to have some combination of these things. You're going to have to think about, your retirement accounts. So whether you're an employee or an employer, 401ks, your SEP IRAs, and for the really high income earners, you can actually stack something called a cash balance plan on top of a 401k. So although you can put away a maximum amount in that 401k, you can put away like another 100 grand plus, depending on your age, that gives you additional tax deferral and also income opportunity in the future. Non-traded alternative investments. Now, when we hear about non-traded, that means that these are securities that are not traded on the stock exchanges. Sometimes the hotels that you all talk about with Devon, these will be non-traded investments. These are assets that you own that can pay you income, that can give you some tax benefits and capital appreciation opportunity, but they're not traded on an exchange. So the volatility aspect of it overall in your portfolio, you can help to control it a bit more when you have those non-traded investments. Any of my real estate people, I know you guys know about 1031 exchanges and how important they are for tax efficiency. For those that don't know what a 1031 is, we're going to talk about it a bit more high level. This is when you have an investment property, not a personal property that you live in, but an investment property that you want to sell. And if you have a significant gain on that, you can kick the tax bill down the road by doing a 1031 exchange. And you take those gains and you give it to a third party called a qualified intermediary who holds the money for you until you identify new properties to invest in. They deploy it to those properties. But because you never took receipt of the assets yourself, you don't pay any taxes. And all that money gets to go into those new properties, which means that you get more income opportunities because there's more dollars to invest and less debt that you have to take on. Qualified opportunity zones, some of you may not be as familiar with this. This is any type of asset outside of real estate. It can be real estate, it can be real estate, but businesses, you sell stock, anything that has significant appreciation, stock options for those in corporations, and you get restricted stock units or options, you could use a qualified opportunity zone to abate the tax bill as well. And so with those, and with some companies, you can actually create a situation where you don't have to pay any taxes on the gain that you had on those different types of assets. Fixed index annuities, I use these with clients that are trying to have a certain base amount of income. So you build up these assets, and I want to make sure that I have enough incoming cash flow. It's also asset protected. There's also some tax benefits to it. I'm using the annuity piece to address that need. And then we got hybrid cash value life insurance. Some of you may have heard of bank on yourself. There's different strategies around different types of insurance, be it whole life, index universal life, variable universal life. So in addition to having a tax-free death benefit that can go to your family, you can also, with permanent coverage like this, actually have a living benefit that can pay you some tax-free cash flows while you're still alive. And then, of course, investment portfolio allocations. Allocation is probably the most important piece of your portfolio, of building wealth. I would also say that the savings rate is important as well. That allocation model is really going to drive how well the returns are in your portfolio. So some people really don't pay a lot of attention to that. I've seen people that are too conservative. They want to have the money in a fixed account. Well, I'm getting my 3%, but they don't understand that inflation is growing far faster than that 3%. So you're really losing purchasing power. So all these things kind of work together in a blended fashion to help you address whatever needs you may have. So if you want to reduce your income taxes today, for those business owners, you can have a solo 401k. That means I'm a solo business owner. I can set up a solo 401k for myself. You can set up a SEP IRA for your company. And then, like I said, cash balance plans for people that have way more money than they know what to do with, and they're trying to be as tax efficient as possible. They can stack that on top of one of those types of plans. Even if you are a W-2 worker and you have a side business, maybe real estate or what have you, you can still set up a SEP IRA for your personal business while you say have a 401k with your main job. That gives you more opportunity to reduce your tax bill. In addition, when it comes to IRAs, for those of you in the real estate space, you can have a self-directed IRA. So what does that mean? Self-directed IRA means that the IRA itself can be the owner of real estate. You can actually partner with your IRA to own property. Now, when that property pays out income, rents, and everything else, it's sheltered inside of the IRA, hence you pay no taxes on it. How cool is that? So let's say you had a 401k, you've been working for years, and you got, I don't know, $500,000. You could transfer $200,000 to that self-directed IRA, and now there's $200,000 to work with for that IRA to go out and buy property. That's pretty cool, right? I want everybody to understand that when you're trying to build wealth, the smart way to do it is to get as much help as you possibly can. When it comes to those 401ks, number 4 on here is really important because you're activating the participation of other people in your 401k plan. First of all, you got the employer match. Anybody not getting the employer match, I need you to go to your HR department tomorrow and get that. Ask them what the maximum match is for the employer. If it's 6%, you need to be putting away 6% of your income into that 401k. Why? It's free money. If you put up $1, I'll put up $1. That's what you want to have happen. You want to activate those employer matching dollars. The dividends that are paid, this is from the underlying investments that you select within your portfolio. These are companies that make money, that are willing to share in the earnings with you through dividends. So you get those dividends, you activate dividends from those various corporations inside that 401k, inside that SEP IRA. Capital appreciation, we all know what that is. I bought shares of NVIDIA. NVIDIA is now up over 230%. That's capital appreciation, right? And then the interest from bonds. So why are we not putting money to work? When you say put money to work, that's what we're talking about. Those are dollars that are being made while you're asleep, right? And if you make smart plays on the real estate side, in the hotels and the multifamilies, you're making money while you sleep. This is what I mean by activating opportunity to build your wealth. These retirement plans also have built-in asset protection. That's from federal law. These are ERISA plans. They have asset protection. The cool thing about SEP IRAs for all those solo owners, if you have employees with your company that are W-2, not contractors, but W-2, with a SEP, you have to make a contribution to each of those employees' accounts, okay? So if you got 10 to 15 employees, I probably wouldn't do a SEP. I might opt for the 401k plan because it gives you more flexibility. You can have a vesting schedule where an employee doesn't stay with you for a certain period of time. The money comes back to the company. There's also a vesting schedule. The employees, they have to put away money to get money. So the 401k kind of gives you a little bit more flexibility. Now, if you're a single owner, that SEP IRA, the cool thing about that is you got more flexibility as far as your contributions are concerned. With the 401k, you have to contribute in the year of that 401k, that plan year. SEP, you can actually go into the next year, in fact, into October of the next year to fund for the previous year. Everybody catch that? So that gives you flexibility. Maybe you had some money allocated towards some different investments. You had some receivables that didn't come in yet, and you're at the end of 2023. You can start funding now for 2023 SEP contributions. So that gives you a little bit more time, a little bit more breathing room for those contributions to be made. Now, the SEP IRAs do not have loans. So for those of you that are W-2s, you may have taken a loan from a 401k before. 401ks do allow for the loans, not any IRAs. So if you're trying to be liquid and have the loan capabilities, the SEP wouldn't be the way to go. So we talk about 401k contributions. 2023 was $22,500 on a pre-tax basis. If you were age 50 and older, you could put away $30,000. So anybody that was slipping last year that needed to really be participating and had the ability to, high income earners, guess what? I shouldn't say high income earners. Everybody should participate, at least up to the employer match. But if you do have the ability to put away more money, you can put away $23,000 pre-tax in 2024. If you're age 50 plus, you can put away $35,000. Now, that's on the employee side. That's called the 402G limit. That's just Fed talk. That's just tax language. 415C limit, which includes the employer contribution. For my business owners out there, check it out. You can actually put away a total of $66,000. That's $69,000 in 2024. That's the employee match, but you also own that business, so you can put away the employer contribution up to $69,000, and then it's $76,500 if you're 50 plus. Those individuals that are W-2s, those employer contributions, if you maxed out at $23,000, you still get those employer dollars on a pre-tax basis. The money grows tax deferred. Now that's very important because this is a big piece of your wealth, right? That's a big piece of a lot of people's wealth. We've also got that caveat of being able to possibly leverage it to use it to buy some real estate in future years. So it all matters. SEP contribution limits, $69,000. There's the SEPs do not offer that 50 plus catch up, so that's just something good to know. So we talk about these non-traded alternatives. We got a lot of writing here. I'm gonna break it down for you pretty quick. So the key attributes of the non-traded alternative investments. Let me back up real quick. The biggest endowments in this country, Harvard, Yale, state of California, various pensions, endowments, they use non-traded investments quite a bit. We're talking about lumber, oil and gas. They're using hedge funds. They're using real estate and heavily. They actually don't have as much stock as do individuals. Why is that? Because they're trying to get the cash flow, the income to be able to support scholarships, the infrastructure of the campuses, the endowed chairs and paying employees, et cetera. So they're looking to get those cash flows from those various alternative investments. But when you look at the endowments, they actually have a large outperformance relative to like the S&P 500 and the retail investor. So there's actually something to these alternative investments and something that you want to consider. So Devon's on the right path when we talk about the hotels and looking at these opportunities or these flagship brands that you could be a part owner of. But these are publicly registered. That means they have to be registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission. But as I mentioned earlier, they're not on an exchange. So you're not going to see them on CNBC as far as, it's up or down in the given day. Just like the property that you might own right now. Nobody's got that listed on an exchange. You get your cash flows, you make sure you raise your rents, et cetera, the expenses and taxes, everything are covered. Kind of a similar situation, but now institutional asset managers are doing those things on your behalf. So if you want multifamily, if you want hotels, if you want storage facilities, if you want CVSs and so on and so forth, you can have those, pay some money with a company that does the management for you and just get the checks, the appreciation opportunity as well. So it's a way to broaden your portfolio, asset diversification. You can help reduce volatility and increase the total return of your portfolio. I mentioned, of course, the tax deferral aspects of it. And typically, when we talk about these types of investments, it's really for your multimillionaires. That's what it used to be. But some of these companies that kind of come down the food chain, and they may say, hey, for $5,000, you could be an investor in this project. Key example of that, everybody knows about our Mercedes-Benz Stadium here in Atlanta. Everybody knows about the Gulch. This is where everybody goes to watch the underneath the bridge, everybody's tailgating and all those things. Well, that's called the Gulch. Well, there's a company that actually now has the rights. They're going to develop that whole area, and it's a company called CIM, and they're an alternative investment company. And I've got clients' assets coming into that because right now it's paying a distribution of about 7.85%, and there's no tax. So last year they paid out 7.85. It was 100% non-taxable. So that's a big deal. So when we talk about types of alternative investments, it's multifamily, triple net lease, hotels, storage, student housing has been a big one and pretty durable. It did go down when COVID occurred, but then it bounced back nicely. Business development corporations, private capital, infrastructure, et cetera. So think about adding these to your portfolio as you build your wealth, and it's a great wealth building tool. I can vouch for that personally. So we talk about the subject of capital gains on the sale of appreciated real estate. As an example, let's suppose, excuse me 1 second. Let's suppose for a second, you happen to own or be a part owner of a medical office building. And you guys decided, hey, it's an opportune time to sell. There's a medical group that wants to come in and buy this. We're at the top of the market. We want to go ahead and sell. And let's suppose that you bought this for $1 million and now it's worth $5 million. That's a $4 million gain. Okay. If you sold that property and took the proceeds, what are you paying taxes on? The $4 million gain. Okay. But with the 1031, as I mentioned earlier, say, you know what, we're gonna exercise a 1031. So when you do that, you basically make a phone call. Hey, I want to do a 1031. Call the qualified intermediary. They get the address and all the details about the property. If you don't have properties, and part of what I do as an advisor, I have a portfolio of properties readily available, like new multifamilies. So you might want to do something on your own and say, hey, I've got a property I want to purchase down in Texas. You might want to do it on your own. Sometimes deals fall through at the last minute. So my job is to be there. Some clients work with me on the front end, but my job is to say, hey, no worries. You got 45 days from the time you sell to identify your new properties. I've got some properties for you. And I typically like the properties in those no tax states where a lot of people are moving to, Florida, Texas, and the like, because it's where a lot of demand is. So when you have demand, that means those rents are going to be pretty strong because people are trying to get in those properties. So multifamily has been a really big one lately. Like I said, there are others. Student housing. I've done a lot of student housing on different campuses and colleges. But essentially, you're avoiding the taxes. Now you got institutional managers managing property for you, and you don't have to worry about taxes, tenants, and toilets going forward. Somebody else is doing that on your behalf, cutting the checks to you, giving you the reports. They decide when to sell. When they sell, they return your principal plus a gain, and you do it all over again. You can do another 1031. Tax efficient, and because you didn't lose any money to taxes, that's more dollars going into a property, hence more income that you're able to make on those dollars. Okay. We talked about 1031. I'm not going to belabor it any longer. But when I talk about $200 million, there's one property that just closed. But it was a $200 million property. Does anybody have $200 million sitting around? No. But if you can participate in that property opportunity, that's what you're really trying to do. So on a 1031, there's a timeline. Got to follow this. It's federal rules. On day one, you sell that relinquished property. Day 45, you need to have identified the replacement properties. It doesn't have to be like kind. So a multifamily property, you don't have to go into a multifamily. You can go into any other type of real estate that we talked about this evening. You have 181 days to acquire that replacement property in order to leverage that 1031 exchange opportunity. So it's FYI for my real estate folks. Some of you that maybe want to get into the hotel with Dave Vaughn and her group, got a property, 1031. I sell that property. I don't take receipt of the money. I can put that into the hotel. Okay. So the key benefits of using where you put the monies, it's called a DST, or Delaware Statutory Trust. Okay. So this is a trust that has the property housed within it. That's what you'd be putting your money into, the DST that owns the property. It gives you a partial ownership in that DST. So institutional quality property, have limited personal liability. Remember, we talked about your wealth and protecting your wealth. Limited liability. They have lower minimum investments. Now, with some of these properties, I've seen 50,000 as a minimum. I've seen 25,000, depending on the company and the property. Again, this is diversification. That money you took from that 1031, you say, hey, I want to put some of it into a hospital, medical office building, some of it into multifamily. So you got the diversification potential by doing this. There's estate planning efficiency with it. And then this is an insurance policy. In case something goes wrong in a replacement property that you initially identified, you can use this DST as that backup. Like I told you a moment ago, deal fell through, the financing didn't come through for the person who's going to buy your property. Last minute, you find out about that, but you're still trying to use the 1031. You can use this as a backup. And then it's swapping until you drop. You mean swapping properties until you drop as far as taxes are concerned, paying any taxes. That's your 1031. Again, tax efficiency, more of your assets going to work in real estate property for you and your family's future benefit. So QOZs, qualified opportunity zones. Here's another strategy created by Congress back in 2017 as a part of the Jobs Act. The idea is to help revitalize distressed communities with private investor dollars. You as an investor, as opposed to the government having to come in and spend the government dollars. So it incentivizes investors with tax favorable treatment of assets that you sold at an appreciated amount. So it helps you avoid or defer those capital gains taxes. Some companies will actually give you distributions from those new developments. They'll say, hey, by year 3 or 4, we're going to pay you out X amount of dollars that you can then use to pay the taxes that you wouldn't owe for that capital gain. So there's some opportunity there. Excuse me. Coming down with a slight cold, y'all. Things to know. An investor has 180 days, like we talked about, that QO qualified opportunity zone. Actually, we didn't talk about it. We talked about 180 days on real estate. But here's a key fact. You could actually have sold your business for, say, $2 million already, and you could still go back and use this QOZ for 180 days after the sale of that property, after the sale of that stock option, or that restricted stock unit, or your ownership interest in some property. That's pretty cool. So the sale's already been made, still got that 180 days. Almost any kind of appreciated property, as I mentioned before. You defer the gains on it until December 31st of 2027. Congress may actually extend that beyond 2026. Because you got to remember, who made this law? Rich people. Rich people are trying to keep their money, so they may extend this because it benefits them as well. But you can ride along and take advantage of it as well. And again, you can receive income along the way. Now, what will happen is the income that you get after that 2026 is be tax free. And it's a 10-year hold period for the QOZ. So I've used this for some clients. Again, this is pretty new. But I've used this for some clients as a means of helping them with their tax situations. Okay. Now, fixed indexed annuities. Now, if you're younger, getting into the annuities, probably, you don't need to do it just yet, still in the accumulation phase. But when you get my age, I'm 46, and I started to think about having my pension-like income when I get to retirement. So I've actually funded an annuity myself. The particular one I utilized gave me a 32% bonus on the assets that went into it And then every year, when there's performance from the underlying index, it multiplies the index performance by 250%. So what I'm looking to do is to get a sizable amount of income when I get to retirement, which probably be age 70 or so for me. Uh, I'm letting that annuity do be the workhorse for the income I'm seeking, and then all my other assets, my stocks, my real estate, and everything else, I can just use that as I need to. But my fixed income is coming from that pension, stack on top of my Social Security, and I would replace a nice chunk of my income. But what these things do is they help to control the risk. So for people that say, "Hey, I don't want to take risk. I need to have some guarantees," that's what this annuity does. When it's structured correctly, they can actually provide you with the income, the targeted income that you need. So I typically like to see my annuities probably provide 60, typically they provide 60 to 70% of the client's income, but as a percentage of the total portfolio, it's probably less than 10%. So you're taking 10% of your assets to provide 60 to 70% of the targeted income you want to have in retirement. Tax deferred growth. So for those of you who have max funded your retirement accounts, you're looking for some other tax deferral opportunities. This is a way to make that happen. Similar to the ERISA-based retirement plans, they also are asset protected. Anybody wonder why O.J. Simpson is able to still live the life that he's living? He had annuities, asset protected. The other thing that people don't know is these annuities pay you lifetime income. So whether it's over your lifetime and or the life of you and your spouse. So I get this annuity. If I pass away, my spouse will still enjoy this income for their lifetime as well. So this sounds, it's kind of like a pension, right? Happiest people in the world when it comes to retirement are people who have pensions. All your teachers, police, firefighters, they skip it because they'll quit one job and go pick up another contract job and have two checks and be just as happy as they want to be because they know that income is going to be there for life. This is what you're doing when you create this type of a plan for yourself. Remember, we're talking about wealth preservation, and maintaining lifestyle. To maintain lifestyle, you need to have a certain amount of income, and you don't want to be subjected into a whole lot of risk. Okay. Also avoid probate. So I'll just give you the things to know, folks. You never want to put all of your assets into any one thing. Be mindful and pay attention to people that are talking to you and telling you, "Hey, buy this life insurance policy," and overfunded, and you're putting all your excess cash in it. They don't even check to see do you have adequate cash reserves. They don't check to see what other needs you might have. Be mindful and leery of those things. If somebody says put all your money into an annuity, run the other way because they're not thinking about your best interest. It's only for a portion of your assets to help you meet the goals that you define for yourself from a planning perspective. There are surrender fee charges. Some annuities have a lot of exorbitant fees, but the ones I utilize pretty much have no fees other than the surrender fee charge. So what I mean by that is if you take money out before a certain period of time, they'll charge you a fee to get your assets in. But with proper planning, you kept adequate cash reserves elsewhere. That shouldn't be a big deal because you got your other assets in other places working for you. The lifetime income benefit, you can begin utilizing that immediately. I've got a few clients right now that are going to start taking their income in 30 days. But they got other assets. So just a part of an overall plan. Again, wealth building, lifestyle, maintenance, that's what we're talking about. I don't know how many of you have life insurance, but I'm pretty sure you've read about, somebody's pitched you and talked to you about having life insurance, possibly overfunding it to create cash values that you can utilize at some point in the future. Can it work? Yes. Is it always appropriate? No. If you got credit card debt, other student loan debts, things that you're trying to pay off, and cash flows on a monthly basis just really aren't where they need to be, you don't need to be trying to overfund a permanent type of life insurance policy. If you got young kids, get term insurance. That's the cheapest form of death benefit protection. Okay? The cheapest form. Now, what's the trade-off? When you have term life insurance, it's a term of time, 20 years, 30 years, whatever it may be. The risk is that you live to the 20 years or the 30 years, and I mean that's a good thing. Obviously, you want to live beyond the policy, but if something happened to you medically, you may not be able to obtain new life insurance coverage. So leaving a legacy to your family with something that was important, then that might be lost as it relates to having life insurance. But if you got other assets, i.e. stocks, real estate, your retirement accounts, then okay, those are assets that can be left. sometimes people try to, I try to structure with clients, let the life insurance be the key component that leaves the legacy to your children. The money that you built up in your retirement accounts, all those investments, I want you to live life like it's golden. Have a great life. Enjoy yourself. Travel. Do stuff. Don't be trying to pinch pennies so you can leave something to your children. Have peace of mind and knowing I got life insurance that'll pay them whatever's left from these assets that I don't spend and enjoy myself. They'll get that too, plus my home or what have you. So ideally, if you can spend out all your assets that you work hard to accumulate, you manage and everything, that's an ideal situation if you get to enjoy it yourself. But life insurance is just it's a simply leverage. If I wanted to leave $3 million to my daughter, instead of me having to save 3 million or grow assets to 3 million, and then worry about the ups and downs of the market. I mean, I don't know when I'll die, but it could be in a down market. So the 3 million becomes, 2.5 million. That could happen. I'd rather just have the life insurance. It's for 3 million. It's going to be going to her. Did it cost me 3 million to give her 3 million of life insurance? No, it cost me pennies on the dollar. Over the course of my life, I might spend $150,000, even if it was 250 or 300,000. Leave 3 million, it's worth it. But that was my small amount of money, and then the insurance company came with the big bag, as they call it, to leave it to my daughter, right? So it's simply leverage. It's also tax-free. It also avoids probate because you name beneficiaries. So when we talk about wealth, we typically think about what we accumulate ourselves, what we amass from our investments. The easiest way to make wealth for the next generation is the life insurance policy. It's the easiest, and the trick is only this: it's a stroke of a pen. You just simply sign a document that says, here's $1 million or 3 million, and we make that happen. I'm gonna tell you something. Other ethnicities have leveraged this to quite an amazing degree. That's how they get a lot of their wealth, is with the life insurance. I learned this early on in my career. One of my clients was a white woman. She was 65. Her son was going to fund his Roth IRA account. And then he thought about it. He said, wait, Andre, if I put this 5,000 in the Roth, my return, what's my targeted return, and how long would it take me to amass, $500,000? So we talked that through. He said, but if I put this 5,000 as a premium on my mom for life insurance, and I'm named as beneficiary, that's $500,000 day one if something happened, right? I said, that's right. He said, let's do the life insurance policy. See, his mom didn't have the assets, but she was happy to sign off to be the insured to make sure that one day he would get this $500,000. When you looked at the numbers based on her age and life expectancy, at 5,000, it was money well spent in that policy. So leverage the life insurance as a tool to build additional wealth. Again, if you've got some other things that you're dealing with, permanent life insurance may not be the way to go. But I do have clients that are putting away $100,000 of premium in a cash value life insurance policy because they've maxed out everything else they can do from a tax pre-tax basis. So it can work. It's just a matter of what's appropriate. And then another thing I'll point out is that, we talk about assets and asset protection. You can have long-term care protection on that life insurance policy, which means you can add a rider that says, I got $1 million life insurance policy. And guess what? That million can turn into a pool of assets to be used for long-term care for me while I'm alive. I can't feed myself, change. You can't do 2 of the 6 activities of daily living: eating, bathing, clothing, transferring continence, and toileting, right? So anybody's got parents that you have to take care of, and you had to go see about and stay with, all those things. If you could pay somebody to do that, that's what this can do for you. It's the cheapest way to get long-term care, assuming you're in good health. Why does that matter? Because if we're talking about wealth, we're talking about protecting the assets that you've accumulated. You don't want to spend it down on the cost of long-term care. It's a very expensive proposition. So just add a little rider for chump change and have the ability to have that life insurance policy be a pool of assets for long-term care as well. Okay. If you have serious health conditions, it's probably best to avoid trying to obtain coverage. So you probably use things like annuities that can give you guaranteed lifetime income, and they'll double the benefit for long-term care purposes. There's some companies that do those types of things. And then these cash values can be used for supplemental income. So you'll see people talk to you about that, but don't get caught up in, you're putting away $5,000 a year. You're not going to pay for little Johnny's college education. You have to really overfund the policies for them to really get to a meaningful level, okay? Sometimes people are just kind of chasing commissions, so be mindful of that as you structure your policy. Sometimes it's also good to review policies that you already have. So if you got some older policies, whole life, something that has cash value, there's companies are so competitive. They bring the fees down, they add new benefits and features. You may find that for the same premium that you're paying on this old policy, you can get double the amount of death benefit protection, or you can pay less premium for your policy with the same benefits. So make sure you do those policy reviews, as well as review your portfolios. You guys need to be reviewing every asset that you have at least on an annual basis. A lot of people don't do that. They kind of put the envelopes in a drawer, and they don't know what's going on with their money. You want to review all those things: your life insurance, your wills, your trusts. Somebody died, if somebody was born, make sure you update. You got divorced. I had a client who got a divorce, and he was divorced with that wife for almost 20 years. Had I not met him and reviewed his policy, reviewed his retirement accounts, she would have gotten $2 million. And the client died a few years later. And there would have been nothing that the new wife could have done because he didn't update his beneficiaries. So this is your wealth. Make sure you pay attention and monitor everything. When we talk about your investment accounts, this is going to be typically the key driver of your wealth accumulation. Okay. This allows you to build that diversified portfolio. Now, a lot of people I meet, they only have their assets in a retirement plan. They don't have the after-tax investment accounts like the brokerage accounts. And what does that do? That means when you retire, all of your wealth is in this retirement plan, which means that all of your assets are going to be fully taxable when it comes time for you to start taking income. Create that tax diversification, open up that after-tax investment account. You have companies like an NVIDIA that was up over 250%, or Uber that was up 170% last year, or CrowdStrike that was up 100, I think it was like over 170%. Folks, put your money to work. Put your money to work. And if you're afraid, get educated, but don't let the fear not allow you to participate in the markets to gain and build and grow your portfolio. Okay. These are assets as you grow them. If you needed to take out 10,000 because you had to buy a new car, or you want to go on a trip, you could take money from this account, take some of those gains from the account, and let your portfolio sponsor and fund your lifestyle, right? Have a mindset to use your dollars that you work for and earn, to use those dollars to buy assets. Not go out here and pop bottles and buy a whole bunch of steaks and go out and eat and all that. Yeah, I'm not saying don't have fun and enjoy yourself, but maybe scale back the amount that you actually put towards those things, because after you've eaten that steak, other than saying, that was good, what do you have to show after that's done? You put this money to work in these accounts, you're going to be able to see the gains and growth on that. And that'll pay for your steaks and your travel and your shopping or whatever it is you like to do. Use your hard-earned money to purchase assets. That's the key. Okay. You can be tax advantaged when you do your planning. You don't have to necessarily pay taxes. If you got some losses in your portfolio, the losses can offset the gains. That's called tax loss harvesting. You can have municipal bonds that pay you tax-free income. There's so many things you can do when you activate and decide, driven by your goals, that you are going to finally start putting your dollars to work for you and your family. Okay. So you can put your questions in the chat box. I'll be sure to come back to answer those. Let's see. We do a little time check here. Okay. I'm going to speed it up here. Other wealth preservation strategies we won't have a lot of time to talk about today. Individual life insurance trusts. They're called ILITs. When you own life insurance yourself, that's actually a part of your estate. So anybody that has a really big estate, you're trying to avoid estate taxes, you'll take the life insurance and put it inside of a trust, individual life insurance trust that's irrevocable, which means you can't go back and make any changes. Then those dollars are outside of your estate. Those of you who may have special needs, have children that have special needs, they're not mentally capable of managing money, or they're going to always need some support, set up a special needs trust. And then the assets that go into that special needs trust will be there just for that child. Maybe it pays the rent for their apartment or whatever their care needs are. That's what that trust will do. Some of us may have some knucklehead children that if you gave them money today, be gone tomorrow. They're gonna drink it up. They're gonna travel it up. They're gonna try to be ballers or whatever. So to protect them from themselves and make sure that the assets you leave them aren't lost, you can set up a spendthrift trust with your attorney that stipulates how money is to be distributed from that trust for the benefit of that individual. For my business owners, you got a partner or partners. Let's say you have a business that's worth $5 million. If you're 50-50 owners, and I'm a partner with you, that means that 2.5 million of that business is mine. The other half is yours. Well, if I die, and let's say I'm the marketer, I'm the person that drives a lot of the business. If I die, the company's going to suffer as a result of that. But my wife may come to you and say, hey, listen, he was making this amount of money. We need that check. Well, I'm not there adding value, so you don't have the money to do so. So how can you get my wife out of your hair and pass along my interest in the business to her? You'd have to have $2.5 million. Either you need to have it on hand, or you're going to have to pay her out over some period of time. That's going to be a drag on performance. And you're already suffering because I'm not there anymore. Easiest thing to do, I get a life insurance policy on myself. You get a life insurance policy on yourself, 2.5 million. There's a legal document that states it's going to buy sell. If I die, then the life insurance, you're the beneficiary of that policy, but you have to take the money and use it to buy out my wife. So she's got her 2.5 million and you have 100% of the business ownership, right? Again, your business, that's an asset, that's wealth. So you want to make sure you protect the business interest and make sure that it doesn't fall apart because you don't have the cash flow to cover a deceased partner. And then Roth conversions. Some of you may know about backdoor Roth IRAs. This is a way for you to put money, move it from a traditional IRA over to a Roth right away before any gains occur. And then you now have tax-free money in the future. So you want to, like I said, multiple streams of income when you get to retirement. So you can have 401k, traditional IRA, a Roth IRA, your real estate, a few alternative investments, dividends coming from your portfolio from different companies. And guys, that's good living. When you pick your feet up and know that my portfolio is paying me and allow me to retire in the manner that I want, that's good living. Okay. Let me speed up to next slide is just, hey, I know I said a lot, covered a lot, touched on a lot of things. You're not going to get it all today. But if you'd like to have a free consultation, Yvonne's going to send out a link. You can set up a calendar, get on the calendar with me to have a conversation further about your situation. If there's things you want to learn more about or discuss, I'm happy to do so, or you can email me directly. Or if you go out to my website, pivotalwm.com, there's a Calendly site. So there's a place where you can actually schedule an appointment through my website as well. I'll take questions now.
Good evening, Andre.
Yes.
Hey, thank you for your time tonight.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for being here.
No worries. So I have two questions. The first one is really a clarifying question, and then that's just going to lead into the second question. I know you were touching on the Delaware Statute Trust, and
Yes.
at the same time, you were focusing on the 1031 exchange.
Mm-hmm.
To my understanding, so let's say if we sold off a property and we, just for easy math purposes, we had 100,000 in cap gains.
Mm-hmm.
We don't necessarily have to put that entire 100,000 into one property to qualify. You can break it up.
You can break it up. Absolutely.
Okay, cool. So then that goes into the second question. So if, let's say, for instance, if you broke it up into 3 different properties, do you need a 1031 exchange for each property, or on that 1031 exchange, you'll list all 3 properties?
Yeah, so what will happen is you'll list all 3 properties. So the properties that you identify, you'll tell the qualified intermediary about those properties, and then they will then send the funds to those different properties for investment purposes.
Gotcha. So just one 1031 exchange, but just listing the properties, not 3 separate.
Not 3 separate. It's one 1031 where you list the properties. You can list all 3 of the properties as part of that 1031 process.
Gotcha.
And
Thank you for
then
that.
if you wanted to have some cash, so all of it doesn't have to go to another property, as you may know. You can say, hey, I need 50,000 of that because I got some other things I'm trying to do. But you'll pay taxes on that portion. The rest of it can go through the 1031 process.
That's good to know. Thank you for that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. There was a question on here. I want to make sure I got. There's a brother. No, there was a question about the market. No, you do not have to be in the same market. That's actually the beauty of it, because when you do a 1031 exchange, you can go to different markets, like I mentioned, Texas, Florida. I've got some stuff out in Nevada. So you go to different markets. That's the beauty of it. Diversify. Okay. Any other questions for me? No? All right. Well, I thank you all for your time. Devon, did you have anything else you wanted to share or say?
No, oh wait, that's my video show. No, 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 no. I am, thank you for that. This has been absolutely amazing. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Give a shout out to Andre. Did y'all learn a lot tonight?
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Did y'all learn a lot? I put the link in the chat for folks who want to have I told you, everybody get a free gift tonight. Everybody who showed up got a free gift, an opportunity to have a free consultation with Andre. Every person, I know a lot of folks don't have questions, but everybody's personal situation or their financial situation is different. So I'm sure you'll probably reach out to Andre to learn more about how you can preserve your wealth, especially if you, and yes, everybody will get a recording, but yes, so thank y'all so much for tuning in. Y'all homework is to work on your personal financial statement or your personal balance sheet. If you don't understand how that works, that's why you have a licensed financial advisors such as Andre Williams. What makes him different from other financial advisors, or the difference between him and other financials who are not licensed, he can actually give investment advice. So you have to be licensed in order to do that. So for the folks who want to invest in REITs, for the folks who want to invest in other real estate and you don't, or other alternative assets that he talked about during the presentation, if you don't understand it, then you work with, someone like Andre who can help you make the best decision for you, and y'all can set goals. Meaning if you want to retire with $2 million, then Andre would help you put together a goal and a plan to help you get, if you have a business and you want to get, business life insurance and, personal life insurance and all these different vehicles, so that way you can accumulate and preserve your wealth that you're going to be making when you start buying hotels and multifamily. So I appreciate you all so much. I will see y'all tomorrow night. Tomorrow night is the last night of the challenge. We are going to have Mike Ely. He's my business partner. His real estate portfolio is about $200 million. He actually started off in residential to multifamily and to now hotels. And so he's going to be dropping gems on how to find and analyze apartments. So I haven't been seeing badges in the Facebook group. So I don't know if y'all doing your homework. So yes, I appreciate you all so much. And yes,
I was gonna say one more thing. Cash flow management is one of the fundamental aspects of building wealth. So I've got a tool, free budget. So I can send that to you. Anybody who wants to use the budget, they can just use it. It's electronic, it's interactive. They can use that. No obligation to me, but just something that can help you along the way with managing your month-to-month.
Everybody who signed up get a free budgeting tool. See what happens when you just show up? You just get free stuff. Look at that. Look at that. It's amazing. Woohoo! Yeah, so Andre will get that out to me, and I will make sure that I will get that out to you all as well. I appreciate that. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I will see you tomorrow night. How have y'all been enjoying the challenge? It's been wonderful. Has it been, y'all been learning some stuff? Yeah, I love it when people, even the people who that's like, it's not their first time, they always learn something new. So I love it. I love for everybody to learn something new. Yes, oh yay, Doreen was able to make it. Look, Adrian said booked. Look, I already know Adrian. She like, tell me what I got to do so I can do it. Okay. Look, I already know. Okay.
This was fun. Thanks, everyone.
I love it. I love it. You learned a lot tonight. So thank you all so much. And we will see you all tomorrow night. Thank you, Andre.
All right. Thank you. Good night.
Good night.